Obviously, I got with the job, as you can see. And I saw that you're already very popular on Yammer. Like, you just posted a hello, and the last time I checked, half an hour ago, you had 47 likes.
Fantastic.
So people really like you. I would say, obviously, you can see I'm good with introductions, but I will let you spoil the fun for them and
start myself. Okay, right. Okay. Thanks ever so much. Thank you very much for that introduction. Okay, right. Let's see if these slides get up. Oh, fantastic. Where am I speaking today? This computer is in... Oh, Bucharest. Hello, Bucharest. How are you all? You all well? Yeah. Oh, we're going to have to do it this way, aren't we? Are you all well? Yeah. There we go. Fantastic. So, my name is Terence Eden. I work for a company called Telefonica. And I'm here to talk about, well, HTML5, why it's awesome and why you're awesome. I'm going to have to point over there to do this. No, that's blatantly not working. Can someone just hit next? I'll sort of point at you in that direction. So, technology, it never works, does it? I want to talk a little bit, just a little bit, about history. It's good, this. Does anyone here recognise this painting? Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Seriously, I think this is one of the most important paintings in Romania's history. This is Dragos versus the bison. I mean, to me, I think it's a beautiful painting. It gives you a real sense of depth, of scale. It looks like something's happening. You know, there's motion in there. You can see the bull fighting up against it. I just think it's a beautiful, glorious painting, and it's the perfect example of the start of modern Romanian art. So this is a painting by Nicolae Grigorescu. Am I pronouncing that right? Yeah, that's close enough. Dragos fighting the bison. And he painted this in 1864. That's 150 years ago. And you can still see it today. In fact, that's where we are. That's where you can see it. If you cross the road at lunchtime, you can go to the National Art Museum of Bucharest, and you can see this painting. And it's beautiful. It's 150 years old, and you can still see it. Now, why can you still see it? Well, because it's painted on really good canvas, and it's painted with oil-based paints, which are going to last forever. There's no reason why this painting will not last 250 years, 350 years, 1,000 years. I see a few blank faces. Why am I talking about this? Well, does anyone recognise this painting? Yeah, a few at the back here. This is by a modern American painter called Andy Warhol. And he was a very successful painter, and in 1985, he was asked to recreate some of his famous works of art. Am I buzzing a bit there? Right. There we go. He was asked to recreate some of his more famous works of art. And this is what he did it on. An Amiga 1000! Right, could you please put your hands up if you have an Amiga 1000 still? No one? No one? This is such a cool computer, the Amiga 1000. Okay, so no one has an Amiga 1000 anymore, and no one could find these works that Andy Warhol had painted digitally. Where did they find them? On floppy disks. Hands up anyone who's got a floppy disk reader at home. I see 1, 2, not everyone though. So what students had to do is they had to take these floppy disks, and they were written in a really arcane file format, and they had to translate them back to a model file format, and then they got the pictures out. And they can't open them in Photoshop because Photoshop doesn't recognise Amiga art. In fact, no one does. No one knows how Amiga artwork files are structured. Because who has an Amiga? No one. So Andy Warhol's Amiga art was painted in 1985, that's 29 years ago. And it was almost buried in patents and obsolete technology. Of the, I think, 40 discs that they found from Andy Warhol, they only managed to get about 20 paintings off. The rest are lost, they're just gone. 30 years, compared to Nicolae Grigorescu, whose painting has lasted 150 years, and will last even longer. So, we only have a finite amount of time on this planet. Spoiler alert, we're all going to die. Not today, hopefully not tomorrow, not for many, many years, but at some point, we're gone. And we have to make the best use of our time. We also only have a finite amount of money. Well, hands up anyone here who's got an infinite amount of money. No? Someone who works for Google at the back there. You know, we have to choose where we spend our money really, really wisely. So when I first started off in mobile technology many years ago, next slide please, this is what I developed for. BlackBerry, yeah. I started off, I think it was the 6720, one of those little black and white ones, and I built my first app for that. And then Ring came along and they said, oh, we've got the 7230, it's in colour, and it's completely incompatible with all the previous two BlackBerries. So I rewrote my app. And then they said, oh, you know what, we've got the 7730, it's like the 7720, but it's slightly different. So I rewrote my app again. Then they brought out the 7260, which was the same code base, but it had a smaller screen. So I spent more money and more time rewriting my app again. Do you want me to go through all of these phones? Because it's the same story for each of them. Literally, every time BlackBerry brought out a new phone, I'd have to go, well, this is completely different. The screen is different, the keyboard is different, the hardware is different. I have to spend time and money and effort rewriting and rewriting and rewriting apps. And who can afford to do that? Who can afford to tie themselves to one platform and continually change just because a company tells you to? I actually, this is the worst thing I ever did. Did anyone ever buy a playbook? BlackBerry playbook? You were all much smarter than I was. I thought, yeah, this is going to put BlackBerry back on the map. Yeah, not so much. So I bought a playbook and I went on a course and I learned how to build playbook apps. And that was it. There was only one playbook. They didn't bring out a playbook 2. And when they brought out the Z10, playbook apps didn't work on it. So again, I had to rewrite and rewrite and rewrite my app. And that's impossible for us to do. As developers, we want to be trying something new, yeah, and something fun, but we don't want to have to keep taking our code, keep changing it just because someone somewhere has said, I want a taller screen. Oh, we've only got 5 megabytes of memory, not 4 megabytes. It's too much hard work. We need to break out of the cycle of saying, well, Apple have come along. I'm picking on BlackBerry here, but you know, it's just the same with Android. I've got some great apps on the Android store, which worked on Android 2.2, and then Android 4 came out. None of them work anymore. So what, I'm just supposed to redo everything that I've done just because someone in Google or someone in Apple or someone in Nokia has gone, hey, it's time to change everything. And as a developer, I'm just supposed to suck that up. I'm supposed to dance to someone else's music. That doesn't sound right to me. So let's talk about the future. That was the past. Past is over, it's dead. Let's move on. Hands up if you recognise this. Yeah, one person down there. Sir? What is it?
It's one of the first browsers.
This is the very first web browser. This is the very first web page. This was written by Tim Berners-Lee in CERN 25 years ago. So only 5 years after Andy Warhol painted his pictures, which were then lost. And very quick show of hands. Could you please put your hands up if you've got a web browser on you at the moment? Yeah? Every week? Yeah, great. I've got a web browser right here. You can still view these pages. You can take your web browser, whether it's on your TV, or your watch, or your glass, or your phone, or your computer, and you can still go and see these. If you've got a brand new BlackBerry, you cannot run old BlackBerry apps. If you've got the new iPhone 5S, you can't easily run iPhone apps which came out with the first iPhone. And it's the same with Android. But the web, every single browser in this room, every single person in this room with a browser can still see the very first web pages. And I'm hoping in 150 years' time, you'll still be able to see these web pages. Now, why is that? Well, this is a brilliant slide, isn't it? No one can tell what this is. This is the history of the web browser. So what you've got there, I think that's Internet Explorer, how that's changed, and that's Firefox, and there's Safari, and then there's all these other weird browsers. But browsers continually evolve, but they do two things really, really well.